The Traveler, GM. Testing a mean reversion system, and I've been going back on the lessons too, such as pivot, support, resistance, ended up sticking out to me a lot, and now I'm back testing. I can't help but find these points everywhere. But this confuses me because when I'm trying to highlight the confirmed range low and high, I tend to find the price seem to have ranged in this area of price before, and generally price seem to go back to either side of support resistance. And after false breakouts, I've been finding trades like that, but what counts more, previous level and new ones being created? I mean, this is very messy. So, yeah, I don't know, bro. I can't answer because I don't know why you've drawn these, right? And you're asking about previous levels and what matters and what doesn't. What you're seeing here is what price does most of the time, which is moves with no clear direction. So I think almost certainly what's confusing you is that price is not giving a clear signal. It's not really respecting the range low. It's also not breaking out into a new trend. And price is just drifting around aimlessly. Like, again, a lot of the time, that's what price is going to do. A lot of the time, price just does this. Doesn't respect the high, doesn't respect the low, goes like that, goes like this, and it's just, and then it compresses. And that's just how price can look sometimes. So the best way really to describe it is, if you don't get a very clear and obvious setup per your rules, per your system, you don't trade it. And you have to be okay with not taking a trade if there isn't a very clear signal. And the thing with support resistance, range high, range low. Range high and range low is better because it's objective, right? You have a range high, you have a range low. If you choose to redraw it, that's based upon your rules. But if you're looking at like a support resistance, you have to be mindful that how do you define it, right? It's like, let's look at Bitcoin here. Okay, so in this phase here, where is the support resistance? So when we were over here, quite clearly, just draw the highest point. When price was here, that was resistance. Tried to get above it, failed. Tried to get above it, chopped around, went back below. Then it breaks out here. So where is the SR now? Is it this level? Or is it this new resistance that formed up at the highs? Well, in reality, it could be either, because price could come down here, hold that, continue consolidating there and break higher, and you'd say, oh yeah, actually, beforehand, price could not get above that level. It tried to, failed, it got above, it did eventually flip it, and that would still be a valid support resistance flip. Or you could say, as soon as price goes higher, I will move, so you're looking here, as soon as price goes higher than that, I will move my resistance up. So you move it up to here. Then it goes up there. You move it up to here. And until there is a flip like this and a retest that holds, and price then confirms that, which like for right now, price confirming this resistance flipping to support would be when it makes a BOS. So if we hold here and we break higher, you would say that is a confirmed flip. That is now support, not resistance, because price has held it and gone higher, and you would look to trade up with an invalidation below that resistance or support. Now, you have to have a clearly defined rule for that. What makes you draw the support resistance? If you don't have a clear rule for that, trade something different until you do. Right? That's where like waiting for a trending move to happen and then a 75% retracement, marking your potential range low, potential range high. That's where those are a good starting point because it gives you objective measures. Also, you could say weekly, monthly levels are considered as your support resistance because it's objective. You mark every weekly open. Right? If you mark every weekly open, those are your levels. Now, It doesn't mean every single weekly open is going to be respected or that you can trade based on those. It's much harder to create systems around that because there is an element of subjectivity with support and resistance. Because support and resistance is almost never a price, right? Zoom out even further. It's very obvious that 72k is resistance, right? But it's not like it's 72. Over here it was pretty much exactly. Over here it was slightly higher. Over here it was higher again. Support resistance is almost always a zone, right? It's a broad area, which makes it much more difficult to backtest and is more for framing your bias with your analysis. So I don't short 72k because price can't get above it. I use the 72k to frame my bias, and I say, like I said earlier, 72k, price can't get above it currently. So if price fails, I would look at my other objective or subjective area, which is 60, right? Where we tested, tried the break but couldn't, tested. And I would say, all right, if Bitcoin can't get above here, it's probably going to go to here, this general area. Now, then that's your bias formed, meaning if I see a setup that would equal a continuation on the 4 hour, which for me would be a BOS here, we have a swing low at that level. Price impulse lower, it's consolidating sideways. If price then breaks through here, I would consider this to be a 4 hour downtrend, and you could trade the 4 hour chart in the direction of this support. Now, if you want to find an exact reason to exit at that support, you could use an order block or whatever. Again, up to you. You can pick anything you want for your rules purposes. CEO, GM. My question is more about emotions and consistency in dollar trading. I feel like everyone making money trading making huge progress, but not me. Yeah. Creating and backtesting new ideas, systems, still doing dollar trading, don't feel any better and smarter in trading. How to compensate, what to do to feel better. Super common. First thing, I say it a bunch. And it's easy to say, it's harder to do, but just don't compare yourself to others. Right? You can't compare yourself to others. Second thing, this reason why you feel stuck. If you've read that post, right? I even said it here. Most common in blue belt, because you've gone through the phase where you learn super fast and you learn lots because you're going from 0 to 1, and then as you're increasing your knowledge, the incremental increase in knowledge is slower and slower and slower, but you are learning, you are getting better, you are improving. But then you're bombarded with stuff like, people sharing big wins. You just can't. I know it's easy to say and hard to actually do, but take an example of me instead of another student. Because when you see another student posting a win, it's very easy to be like, damn, well, that should be me. I'm also a student. But you don't know about that student. You don't know how long they've been trading. You don't know about their losses. Again, this is it. They're only going to share their wins. So instead, think about me. If I posted a win, would you feel massive FOMO because you didn't have that win? Right? Not a trade I said before. If I just said, oh, guys, here's a day trade I took. I'm going to break it down. Here was the trade reason, the entry, stop loss, take profit. Here's how the trade went. Breakdown of the trade. There's a winning trade. Would you feel as much FOMO, essentially, about having not had that winner yourself? Probably not. Because you're like, okay, well, that's Michael. He's the prof. He's been trading for years. He's much more experienced than me. Of course he's going to have wins that I don't have. That is a better way to kind of look at it, because you probably don't compare yourself to me, but you would compare yourself to another student. But me and another student are no different in terms of you. You don't know how long that student's been trading, what risk they took, how many losses they had, were they even using a system, did they just blindly ape in? And at the end of the day, when you go 5 years into the future, The only thing that will determine your success is what you have done. Student can come in tomorrow and post a fucking $1 million win on a meme coin. 5 years from now, it has zero impact on you as a trader. But what you do every day, through the process of compounding, what you do every day will directly affect what's going to happen to you in the future. So, I know this is one of the trickiest parts of trading, but you have to just trust me on this one. You have to just stick to your own. And instead of looking at it maybe in a negative sense, I want you to flip it. And I want you to flip it into a positive and say, every time I get that feeling that I'm not going fast enough, or, someone else is doing more than me, I want you to instead say, this is an opportunity for me to focus on my own process, to feel that emotion, journal it, right? I know I say this over and over again, but there's a reason why I'm like a broken record with journaling, because it's so important. Journal it and say, today I saw, XYZ student, whoever. I was going to say a name, but anyone. No point, don't personalize it. Today I saw XYZ posting a massive win in Trading Wins. I don't even know this guy. I've never seen him in the campus before. He's posting a $2,000 win. I felt super angry because I don't have a $2,000 win. And I felt FOMO and I felt all these feelings. Journal it, write it down, log it, get it out of your head onto paper. And then say, I know that I'm on my own path. I'm walking my own path. This is my process. I can only do what I can do. And if I do that, I know. And here's the thing. You don't know that you're definitely going to make money. You don't know that you're definitely going to make $100,000 or $1 million or $10,000 or whatever. There's no certainties in life with anything. But what you do know is the best path. And you do know the correct decisions to make. And this goes right back to the point of what trading is all about. It's the process. And so you just say, I know I want to make loads of money. Who doesn't? I know I want to get to my personal goals. Everybody does. But I also know that I can't tell the market, give me this money because I want it so bad. All you can say is, I need to do the things that are in my control. And if I do the things that are in my control and I do them for long enough, I will have the best chance, the best odds of winning. It is really simple. And simple is best. And this is where you should, I would almost never say this, but this is where you should blindly trust me. The one area where I would say to you, blindly trust Prof. Michael, is when I say that you have to focus on your own process, you have to purely think about your own decisions day by day, and you have to measure yourself against yourself from a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. And if you are better than you were a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, you are getting to where you need to be. It might take you 4 years when you thought it would be 2. It might take you 1 year when you thought it would be 3. Could surprise you in both directions. The only thing you can do is trust the process, which again, it's a cliche, right? Trust the process is one of the biggest cliches. And yet, cliches exist for a reason. Cliches exist because there's truth in them. Yeah? Improve 1% every single day is the most robust trading strategy. Again, an absolute cliche and absolutely accurate. And of course, you don't measure 1%. Right? It's not like you can say, oh, I got exactly 1% better every day. It's a mindset. Did I do something? This is what the power channel's for, right? Did I do something today to make myself feel powerful? The reason we say power is because it's a really strong word. But what does the power channel mean? What does the power represent? Did I do something that made me feel more successful? Did I actually have an outcome? Something that happened that made me better? The answer is yes. Boom. That's your 1%. In reality, you might have progressed 5% that day. Or you might have progressed 0.4% if you could measure it. It doesn't matter. Did I get better? Better at journaling, better at managing my emotions, better at having a breakthrough, learning something about trading, better at predicting, right? I drew out a plan for the day's action and it played out. Okay, was that random chance or was there logic behind it? No, there was logic. I saw XYZ happening on the chart. I cross-referenced it with the RSI and the funding rate. I thought it was oversold and we ended up pumping. Great, cool, log it down, boom. Could that be a system? There's a new idea. All you're doing is you're just, again, one of these tired cliches. It's you against you, and it really is. It's you versus the old you from a day, a week, a month, a year ago. Daniel, GM. Oh shit. Daniel's a purple belt, but I'm guessing you're on this stream because of the timing. So let me answer this. I think it's relevant for blue belts too. What would be your suggestion for managing trades on multiple time frames? When I open a Bitcoin swing long on a daily, and a few days later I have a signal on a 1 hour to open a short on my other system, my monkey brain wants to immediately close that swing early, even though it is still valid. I never close in that situation, but the feeling inside me is the feeling similar to FOMO back in the days before joining the real world. Yes. Super common. Super common. It's really hard, right? This is literally, do you know what's funny? This is a paradox in itself. What you're describing is actually cognitive dissonance, except you're aware of it. So, true cognitive dissonance is where you hold contradictory ideas in your head, but you're not aware of it, right? An example of cognitive dissonance would be you tell everybody about how bad it is to smoke cigarettes. But when you're out drinking, you smoke cigarettes. Right? You know, when you go out and you have a couple of drinks, your friends are there, you'll also smoke a cigarette. But you'll tell people smoking is unhealthy. That's cognitive dissonance. Right? You're holding contradictory ideas. You think and you know smoking's not healthy, but you also smoke. Humans are full of these contradictions. It's just part of being human. This also applies in terms of bullish and bearish, right? It's super hard. It could be the hardest thing about trading as a, let's call it directional trader, where you have long and short. You're not just long only. By the way, this can be fixed by being a long only trader or a short only trader, which, I mean, in crypto, just the odds are not great being short only. Most of the short only funds, and there many of them exist, they mostly trade in TradFi, trying to find basically scammy, overpriced stocks. But if you're long on a daily time frame and you see a signal to go short on a 1 hour time frame, you are going to want to close that daily trade. You're just going to, right? You're long on a daily chart and you see a news article come out that's temporarily bearish, like bad news, and the price starts to go down, you're going to want to close. You could be in from 60k, prices at 70, some really bad news comes out and it drops to 67, and you're like, I want to close. And your invalidation hasn't been hit. Or you get a trigger on your 1 hour chart. Again, you're long from 60, price is at 70. There is a market structure break on the 1 hour as price goes from 70 down to 69. And your system tells you this can go to 64 or 65 based on the 1 hour setup. You're like, well, I should take a short, right? My system's telling me get in short at 69, stop loss at 70, target 65. My long trade is already open from 60. It's fine, it's valid. But wait a minute. If I'm right about my 1 hour short, my swing trade's going to go all the way down to 65. Why don't I just close it at 69 and then reopen it at 65? Much better, right? But you can't do that. Because again, your 1 hour chart setup, first of all, might just be wrong. And it's actually more likely to be wrong if it's a lower time frame signal. There's less confirmation on a 1 hour than there is on a daily. And you can't cross-pollinate systems like that, meaning you can't allow system B to affect system A. So you either stay in the long, take the short, and treat them as separate trades, which is what you should do, especially to develop the skill of doing that. That's absolutely a skill, and you can only build a skill through repetition, so you should do that. And just understand that you're going to feel this. It's normal. I still feel it all the time. Anytime I'm long and a bearish signal presents, my first thought is, why the fuck am I long? You have to trust the systems. You have to remind yourself, you're not right. You're not predicting, right? Your bearish signal is not telling you that it's definitely going down. Because let's imagine you had no long open. If you had no long open and the 1 hour short signal came up, right? Would you put on a massive double size position or triple size position? No. You'd say, well, this is just a 1 hour short signal. It might win, it might lose. So I'm going to use my standard 1 hour risk. But to open that short and close a high time frame swing long is almost like you're doubling down, maybe even tripling down on your short. So try and remember that every single trade is just a coin toss. And it might win, it might lose. Is there going to be lessons on how to use aggro chart setup in the site, or new lessons on how to read sentiment? I mean, whoa. Signed out. Okay. Give me a second. Let's sign back in. I haven't seen this before. Not on stream. Devs must be deving. Okay. I can't get back in. Alright. I think anyone listening through the link can still hear me. But I can't log back in. So let me check the... Let me chat to logic points here. Just so I might have to end the stream. If I do, then I'll answer the rest of the questions directly this evening. I'll just hang on for a minute to see if Logic Points is able to get me. I'll try it one more time. No. Okay. I'm going to end the stream, guys, for anyone who can still hear me. I can't get logged in. And I don't think Logic Points is like directly able to get on for me. So, GM, we went an hour anyway. If you can even fucking hear this. Thanks for joining. I'll answer the rest of the questions directly later on. And until next week, GM, any other questions, drop them in the Bootcamp Ask Michael. GM.